Welcome back, everyone, to our podcast. And today we have an incredible guest with us, Dr. Tamara White. With over 25 years of experience in the helping profession, she has counseled and coached thousands throughout her career. Dr. Tamara is dedicated to empowering women to live more fulfilled and productive lives. She has developed programs specifically designed for accomplished women, helping them ignite their courage, effectively manage stress, and heal emotional wounds. This program not only reduces stress levels, but also fosters more enriching relationships. Dr. Tamara is the creator of the Courageous Woman Network and author of 7 Strategies for Courageous Living, a guidebook for women, and her newly released book, oh boy, it's Courageous Women Rise, Their Strength, Their Journey, and Their Purpose. As a transformational coach, licensed counselor, and speaker, she teaches women how to manage overwhelm, build courage, and heal emotionally. Dr. Tamara holds a Doctor of Divinity degree and a Master's of Science degree in educational psychology. Beyond her professional achievements, she loves chocolate and cherishes time with her precious grandchildren. Welcome, Dr. Tamara. I am so honored to have you here.
Thank you, Dr. Peggy. Thank you so much for asking. I'm excited to be here.
Oh, this is terrific. And I know our audience is going to really, really soak up this interview because you have so much to offer. And I wanted to start out with, tell me a little bit about the background. Where did you start? What made you go into the work that you do? So if you could just enlighten us a little bit there, we could get an idea of who you are and how you got there.
My start in this business of counseling and helping people goes back to high school. So it goes back a long time ago. And I laugh about it because I didn't know that then because, you're 16, 17 years old. You don't really know what's happening. And so I really began to help people. I was the one who listened to all the issues that we have as teenagers and helped solve problems. And the confidentiality was probably more important than anything. And I always gave wise counsel. And so by the time I graduated, I knew that I wanted to have a counseling background. I knew that I wanted to be a counselor. And so that's really truthfully how I got started in high school.
You were just a kid.
Yeah, I was just a kid, didn't know anything, but it just lit my soul up. And I'm the oldest of 3 children. And so carrying that responsibility, I think also pushed some of the things that I've done in my life because I was as the eldest, you are the go-to. The parent says this is what has to happen for your siblings and you just stand up and make it happen. So a lot of problem solving and trying to encourage. I had 2 brothers for them to do the right thing. And because I didn't want to have to suffer the consequences. So it kind of all went together for me. And I've just enjoyed a very nice career in helping people throughout my life.
Wow, that's awesome. I mean, it's interesting how you just knew at such a young age. And, I guess the older you got, the more passionate you got.
Yes.
And so tell me a little bit more on some of the types of people that came to you. I mean, because I know we all draw certain types of people. Yes. So tell me a little bit more about that.
Yes. So in my early career, I worked strictly as a therapist. And so I worked in people's homes. I did, unfortunately, the child protective cases. I worked at agencies. And throughout my career, I've worked with veterans, those that were coming not necessarily those coming away from war, but just veterans, period. So I worked in a nonprofit organization. I have worked in the school system, and I did most of my growing up, if you will, in my career working in the school system. And that was a by chance. I was not looking to work in the school system, but the door was open, and I believe in walking in those doors. So I helped to counsel and coach a lot of parents and a lot of students and a lot of administrators and teachers, because once again, I became people's confidants because that's just what oozes out of me. So,
goodness.
And then I have my own private practice right now as a therapist and as a transformational coach.
Oh my goodness, the varied people you have helped. I mean,
Yes,
from abused children or
yes.
neglected children to
Hmm.
veterans. I
Hmm.
mean, that's a pretty wide berth of people
Yes, it is.
to work with.
Yes, it is.
And what what really called you to work with high achieving women?
Well, because there are a lot of things that transpired. My husband is a business owner, and I stepped into his world. I don't know. I've lost track of the years quite a while ago, and I became his partner. And I knew that I had a higher calling when I left my other prior employment. Is because I was so burnt out, and I said, "There's got to be more. I need to, help at a higher level." And so I went and was his business partner, and that taught me a lot about business. I think I wouldn't be in business today had it not been for that, because just his business has nothing to do with mine, but business is business. And so when that time ran out for me, and when I say that, that's when I made my pivotal move, because it took courage to talk with my spouse about leaving the business that was a primary business. That was what was paying the bills. And that's why I developed my whole Courageous Network, is because of that. Because when you take a stand and you know that you know that you know that you need to be doing something else, my calling was calling me back, because it wasn't feeding my soul any longer to be in his world. I need to get back to what I do best. And so we had to have that conversation. I had to have that courageous conversation. And I knew that as a high achieving woman, there are lots of women out there like myself who need to make decisions. They're hard decisions. And then how do you do that? Because people operate out of fear rather than out of themselves and their courage. And so I know that I'm attracted to that type of client. And those are the women that I serve now, is women that are leaders, women who, are professional women that just need to bounce up and do it and be true to themselves.
I love the fact that you went through, as you say, a very courageous, just the conversation itself was very courageous.
Yes.
And those of us, we all have wonderful, partners or friends or
Hmm.
spouses.
Hmm.
Boy, when you have to break the ice on something we know that's going to be stepping on their little toes,
Yes.
it's really, really, you need your courage there.
Yes. Absolutely. Absolutely. I prayed a lot before I did it, but I said, I can't hide any longer. I kept pushing it back. And then one of the employees at the office asked me, she said, "Mrs. White, why are you here?" And she even began to see it. She said, "You need to go and do what
Wow.
you need to do." And that really, that helped a lot for her to have, because I hadn't really spoken anything to her, but I think she knew my history. And so she saw that in me and gave me that little push out the door. She said, "Go ahead, do what you need to do." And she didn't know any more than that. And I said, I knew what I need to do was sit down and have that conversation.
And now, I would imagine it's a few years later, and now you're doing what you love. But I
Yes.
wanted to ask, when you're working with high achieving women,
Hmm.
you mentioned oftentimes are very overwhelmed.
Yes.
And of course we know overwhelm, stress, they're all synonymous in a way.
Yes.
But you also, this is where it ties into relationships, right?
Yes. It ties into relationships. You're absolutely right. Relationships, it doesn't necessarily have to be a spouse. It could be a partner. Relationships at home with kids.
Yeah.
I remember when my children were younger, they knew that I was in some type of funk or whatever. And they say, "Well, Mom, what's wrong?" I'm saying, "Well, nothing's wrong." And it was oozing everywhere. I remember it was oozing when I went to church. People would say, that's what I'm saying. When you're in pain on the inside, it comes out no matter where you are. And these people didn't really, I'm going to church, and folks would say, "Well, are you okay?" And I'm thinking, I thought I was masking all this up really well. And I was like, wow, this is getting serious. I better do something. So working to help women to, come to come to their own truth and just own it, just face up to what's in the mirror and be okay with that. But sometimes you need someone to walk aside you to give you that extra push, like the woman at my office, and the encourager, and having that plan to do the things that one needs to do. Because
That,
sometimes in your own head, you keep saying, "Oh, I can push it off. It doesn't have to be done now. I'll do it later." And then years are clicking by, and you wake up and it's too late
saying,
sometimes.
wait a minute, I have grandchildren and I'm still doing
Yes,
this.
yes,
'Cause
yes,
I know you have grandchildren.
yes.
It's interesting, right? And I wanted to talk a little bit about your prayers, and you're a doctor of
Mm-hmm.
church,
Benefit.
and
Mm-hmm.
doctor of divinity, excuse
Mm-hmm.
me. And how do you incorporate that into your counseling, and how does that work?
I do, because one of the questions I always ask clients is, are they a faith-based? Do they have any type of, are you faith-based? That's just a natural question for me, because I want to know where they're drawing from, because I know where I'm drawing, and not to push. It's not about pushing my stuff on anyone, but I need to know where you're grounded at. And what I'm finding, Dr. Peggy, is people aren't grounded in this work that I do, and even in the therapy and the coaching. Some people don't have anything, and so there's nothing to draw on. So when they get depleted, they fall apart much quicker. And so I always want to incorporate that part. I don't hide what I believe, not adopting. You don't have to, it's not like I'm, meeting clients and saying, hey, this is what I believe. But if it comes up, and naturally it comes out of me because of how I operate, but it's not in a pushy way. But I want to know where people stand. What kind of holds you together and what happens at 2 o'clock in the morning when you can't call a friend? Where are you going with this? So I do incorporate that. I don't hide it. As part of my bio. It's everywhere. And I think that's why people select me. I've had people tell me, I selected you because of that one thing, because of your faith. And I thought, whoa, this is really powerful.
That's wonderful. And I think it is important, because as we said, it's not about the denomination, but it's about your spirit.
Mm-hmm.
And we need the physical health, we need the mental health, but we definitely
Yes,
need the spiritual health. And
yes.
if we don't have all of them, there will be deficiencies and issues in one way
Mm-hmm.
or the other. So
Mm-hmm.
it's delightful to hear how you kind of go into,
Yes,
how do I do this
yes.
without sounding like I'm going to start preaching, right?
Right.
But just
Exactly.
so, and so,
Right.
yes, I understand that. I
Mm-hmm.
understand that.
Mm-hmm.
So tell me about some of the other types of people that come in, and what if you could think of one anonymous client
Mm-hmm.
that was helped by you? Can you remember a specific
Mm-hmm.
uh,
Mm-hmm.
high achieving woman that you worked with?
Yes, yes, yes. The one that I want to mention, yeah, high achieving woman, husband had $1 million business. She had retired, was recently in her retirement from what she did, and it had nothing to do with her husband's business. It's kind of like, wow, this isn't this similar. I mean, so she was drawn to me also. And what she wanted to do was incorporate herself into her husband's business, but not, she didn't want to do too much. She didn't want him to think, oh, I'm just going to jump right in because I'm retired now and help you. She said, I want to know more about his business. I want to help, but I don't want it to overtake me. Now, she was a high achiever in her arena. He had this $1 million business, and she wanted to know how to balance that out, because she said, I think if I step my toe in, he's going to like, whoop, Sue, you're here. And now we're going to, you're going to do all this work. And so we talked about how that was going to look. What did she want? Because she was a grandparent. She said, I still want to spend time with my grandchildren even more. I want to go to be able to work out more. I want to have lunch with friends, and I want to help him, but I don't want him to think this is going to be like I'm in here full time. No. So we mapped out a plan. And I think I worked with her for several months. And she got more confident. And that's what it was building up her courageous confidence to be able to approach the subject matter. And I just felt on the inside how cool was this, because it was so much like my story. And, as we began to talk, I did let her know that this was similar to my story, and she could not believe it. I said, so I'm the perfect person for you to walk through this. And when we ended, she had carved herself out one little corner of that business, and she stuck to that corner, and she was still enjoying grandchildren, enjoying her life, and having a really great time.
Oh my goodness, that is so awesome. So awesome. Wow. Tell me a little bit about what the books you wrote. You've written a couple books
Mm-hmm.
in a workbook.
Yes,
How did
yes,
that come
yes.
about?
Well, a couple of years ago, I was thinking I wanted women to have steps. And I felt like, it's always nice to have a little information, then have a little workbook. And so I created where it was all in one versus having two products. And so I talked a little bit about my 7 steps about, having purpose, and then asking people, because I know that subject, Dr. Peggy, is over. We have heard that and heard it and heard it. But in the work that I do, people still don't know. So still have to keep talking about it. And purpose and calling and what you do for a living are different things. Just because you have this wonderful living doesn't mean that that's what you've been called to do. That may not be your purpose. And so for me, and probably for you early on, I knew this was my calling and my purpose, and I keep living it out. So we work on talking about the subject matter, and then having a little bit of area, because I ask questions about how do you find your purpose, or how do you find that thing that lights you up? And I have found that people report back that this has been very, very helpful, because oftentimes it jars up something in their spirit. And I have been talking to a lot of women who shut that down because, well, I've got to do this, that, and the other. They put themselves in a corner. They shut their thoughts and their feelings down. But I give them the permission to look at that.
Oh, that is so nice. I love the idea of the workbook.
Mm-hmm.
And we all know as professional coaches, or whether you're therapists or coaching, anybody that's doing this kind of work to help make a difference, we know the work is in between the appointments.
That's right. That's right.
It doesn't happen when we're talking. It happens between. And I think that's why I love that idea. I really do. That's great. I know that you had a gift to offer any of our listeners. Is there anything you can say about that?
Yes, I developed another tool.
Oh, I love this.
I try, want to help. I mean, my heart is in helping, and I know that women who are leading, women who are high achievers, professionals and whatnot, we're dealing in a society now of overwhelm. The stress levels are so high. The jobs are requiring so much. I talk to people all the time, and I'm hearing the same thing. I'm overwhelmed because we live in such a fast-paced life now. Your kids' responsibilities, your own responsibilities. Everyone's calling your name for something, and people don't know how to say no. And so I created a tool for the overwhelmed woman, and it's just another little tool where you're going to read, and it's very short. You're going to answer some questions about yourself. And then at the end, I'm going to not give you a diagnosis, but give you some clarity on what that looks like, and then how you can work with me. And so the website for that is claritycompasscoach.com. And
I
it's
like
free.
that. Okay. And I know that we will have that link in the show notes. Also, oh my gosh, this is such an inspirational talk. I really am enjoying this.
Thank you. Thank you. Me too.
So I know you're going to have all your links in on show notes as well to be able to get in touch with you, correct?
Yes.
Okay, good, good,
Yes.
good, good. So what's your next step?
Well, my next step right now, as I said, I'm going to be recording a mini course, and that is all about developing courage. How do you develop that?
Oh, good.
And I'm, going to be giving tips on camera about developing courageous moves and courageous things that one needs to do. I am preparing a retreat for October, and that's going to be a small, intimate group of women, somewhere between 6 and 10, no more than 10. So once again, if women are interested in knowing more about that, they can follow me and contact me, because it's going to be juicy, as the kids say. It's going
Oh
to be
my
juicy.
goodness. Is this going to be in person or virtual?
In person here in Houston, Texas. That's where I reside. So they have to hop on a plane, or those that are hearing me, it's going to be nice. People travel all the time for different things.
Oh, I think retreats, especially retreats. I mean, it's all about us, right? Hey, it's me time, a retreat.
Yes. You're going to walk away with a lot of gems for your life. That's all about the empowerment that I do. So those are the things, I have a speaking engagement in July, but that's going to be virtual. Don't have all the details for that. So just keeping busy with creating opportunities for myself to be able to speak like I have here, to be able to share, and to be able to empower women to live their best lives. Don't stop, because it doesn't matter what age you are. Life is not over. Keep it moving.
I love those words. It is so true. And, we're a little seasoned, maybe seasoned a little longer than the other people listening.
Yes.
But it is so true. If we don't keep doing what we're here to do, life could get pretty stale. I mean, that's what I feel. I've never stopped, obviously. Just always have my hands in something, as many of my listeners know. And it's so good to connect with other high achieving women and see that you are truly following your passion.
Thank you.
And you're helping other people get to theirs and discover theirs. Isn't that most awesome?
Yes.
Well, thank you so much. I know our listeners, everyone, look at that little QR code and put your little phone up there and take a shot of that, because it goes directly to what website does that go to?
It takes you right to all of my information.
Wonderful, wonderful. Okay, everybody, utilize that QR code. I love it. That's wonderful. Well, thank you again, and I hope that you come back to us again.
Love to. Anytime.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.